All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another market close. It is Friday, April 26th, 3:46 p.m. And we are back once again. Been a very interesting day in the broader capital equity markets. And the reason for that is because the market pumped. The market really pumped, guys. And it was on a Friday. We didn't expect it, but here we go. This is what we're looking at in the market. SoFi 784 up 3.23%. When's the last time SoFi was up 3%? I mean, like, it's been a while since SoFi broke out. Palantir 2237. It was up a little bit higher, 2260, but still not bad at all to be seeing this 2237 range up 3%. It was at $20.60 yesterday, and then got up to like 2150. Now back in the 22 range. Nvidia $873. 870. Nvidia up 5.75%, basically up 6%. SMCI up 9%. Wow, I didn't even see that today. I thought it was up like 4%. That's up 9%. Intel continues to struggle. We talked about it in the morning. That's not doing the best. Robinhood up about 4% right here, 3.83% at 1778. Snowflake up 3.76%. Tesla's down. We'll talk about it. There's some stuff about the recall they did a while ago. We briefly touched on it in the morning, but have some new details on it. So we'll discuss that and see what's going on there. But that's one of the only one of the Mac 7 that's down. Right now, what we're looking at, Meta's up, Microsoft's up, Apple's up, Google's up. Google's still 10% gain, continued to maintain it, really didn't sell off. Amazon 179, that pumped about 3%, and then Nvidia up 5.75%. Apple is basically flat, nothing too crazy there, but Microsoft is also green, even though Microsoft has sold off from that 5% up to now only 2% up. Bitcoin still struggling, 63,000. ETFs not really helping Bitcoin's case right now. Coinbase is up, Marathon is up, CleanSpark's down about 2%, and Robinhood's up. So the broader sort of crypto exchanges are still going higher, even though Bitcoin is not going higher. I just got an email from a newsletter that I follow that I really respect. It's from Beth Kinding. I don't know if you guys know this woman, but she's in the Valley. She's an awesome newsletter. Her fund is called the IO Fund, and she just sent an email indicating her new Bitcoin price target is 106,000. They called the bottom at around 16,000, and then they called the $35,000 range, and now they're saying 106. I haven't had time to fully read the newsletter, but that's one of the funds. Like, I actually follow their content, and I respect them a lot. So I am seeing a little bit more of a proliferation of the narrative that Bitcoin will still do what it needs to do, even without the magical pump after the halving event, which isn't really that magical. It takes a month until Bitcoin starts to even show signs of life. Historically, it falls 6% after the first month. And so we'll see what plays out. But a lot of the people that have a Bitcoin thesis historically that have called Bitcoin at 15, 30, 50, their thesis really isn't changed, even though the halving event has happened. So a lot of good momentum we're seeing in the broader equity markets, and things are not going that bad at all on a day like today, which is a Friday. Some of the macro stuff that happened today, again, we got that PCE data. For those that didn't know about the PCE data or didn't check it out when it came out, the PCE data did come in hotter than expected, 2.8 versus 2.7 on the monthly, and on the yearly 2.6 versus, or 2.8, or 2.8 versus 2.6. So CPI, PPI, and PCE have all rose for the past 2 months. However, I feel like Google and Microsoft kind of saved the market today, because the numbers that they put up basically told, I guess, investors that, hey, we're still going to invest, right? We're not going to leave the opportunity to buy a Google or a Microsoft or a Meta just because inflation is a bit sticky. These are not 1970 numbers. I do think they will come down, but right now they're being a little sticky. Market seems to not care. One thing that's interesting about Meta is the dip is getting eaten up on Meta. We talked about this in the morning, that the CapEx, the capital expenditures by a lot of these companies, the more I think about it, the more I think this is a stupid reason that Meta sold off, right? Meta at 443 right now, it doesn't make sense. Even if Amazon sells off a little bit because they increased their CapEx, that's going to be a buying opportunity, just like Meta was at 400, even though it lasted for a small amount of time. Because that capital expenditure, first of all, no other companies on the planet can spend the amount of money they're spending, billions of dollars on CapEx. Second of all, it will result in shareholder value in the future. It's just a question of playing a little bit of the long game and building out the AI infrastructure. In this case for Meta, it's H100s and GPUs. So I think Meta's rebounding because the market realized, like, yeah, it probably didn't deserve to sell off. The guidance was fine. The numbers were fine. The CapEx increase was not that big of a deal. SoFi right here is 786. It would be really incredible to see if we can get SoFi to $8. Probably not today, but if it ends really nicely on the day, then maybe the earnings on April 29th can do pretty good as well. Ben says it's 64K. It was 40K like 3 months ago. Basically, Ben is saying, hey, Amit, dumbass, zoom out. And I get it. We probably got to zoom out. Yes, you are right. We got to zoom out. It's just a little bit impatient here trying to get this thing to pump. All right, let's take a look at Snapchat CEO. He's on CNBC. I want to get some of his thoughts. Snapchat right now, Snapchat still, and then we'll talk Tesla. 28%, even pumped harder. It was at 22% in the morning. Let's get his perspective. Why Snapchat pumping? And the reason I want to watch this is because it's not just about Snapchat. Listen to what he says about AI and advertising in general. I think that is going to matter for the broader market and for some of these third-party companies like Trade Desk that haven't reported yet that also play a pivotal role in the advertising market. Again, more ads means consumers are spending, which is overall good for the economy. Here we go.
Happy Friday to you.
Yes. Well, so before we get into some of the broader ad market trends, I want to first just dig in here to understand how much your ad revenue acceleration was due to some of the AI tools that you've implemented to improve advertising, but also content recommendations.
Yeah, we've certainly made a lot of progress on our advertising platform. It's taken a little longer than we had originally wanted it to, but everything from better utilizing privacy-safe signals with things like our conversions API to leveraging much larger unified models to improving the ad interactions on our platform. All of those have just driven much better results for our advertising partners, and we're seeing that now materialize in increased revenue for the business. So it's really been great to see these ad platform improvements translating to better results and better ability for us to serve our performance advertising partners.
There also just seems to be an overall rebound in digital advertising right now. We're seeing it across so many different companies. What are you seeing in terms of the market as a whole, in terms of different verticals? And what's your insight into what's happening right now in the second quarter?
We certainly see that the recovery has been broad-based. I do think to some degree, that's been a result of just working through some of the supply chain issues, and that really elevated demand that we saw through the pandemic, especially for goods, has started to subside. And so businesses are using digital advertising to really efficiently drive more demand. And I think overall the economy has remained healthy. The consumer has remained confident and still spending. So I think net it's a constructive backdrop for the advertising business.
Yeah, we've certainly seen some great numbers across a number of companies. Now, this is the first time you've given expense guidance for the first year, for the full year. Your guidance for the year amounts to about a 5% increase in expenses. What does that say about your investments in AI infrastructure, employees? I mean, you've done some cutbacks over the years, but now you're giving this guidance. What can we make of it?
I thought it was really important to give our investor base, just increased visibility and really some stability around our expense guide. Of course, we're going to continue to run the business for the long term, and if we see opportunities to invest productively, we will. If you look last year at our infrastructure expense, I think we invested about an incremental $100 million a quarter in infrastructure. That's cloud-based infrastructure. I'm not sure exactly what the CapEx equivalent would be, but it certainly was a major investment in really, again, building larger models and, making sure that we could accelerate the progress on our advertising platform. So we made some very significant investments last year. We see some opportunities to find some efficiencies this year, which will allow us to reinvest without, meaningfully growing OpEx as we continue to make progress on our platform.
What's really good about this, and I got to give credit to Evan Spiegel, what he's saying right there is that this is the first time in a while they've given expense guidance. And what that means is they're telling the street, hey, we know we've been spending like drunken sailors, but here's how we think we're going to manage some of our spend, which is good because even though they're losing money, at least they have a plan to get profitable. Snapchat's still not profitable yet. And on top of that, they're also telling the street, first of all, our revenue increased 21%, but our revenue increased because we built out so much AI infrastructure that the targeting of our ads, which is already, it's not been the problem of Snapchat, the targeting, it's been so the demographic, but if the targeting gets better, that can definitely, that can't hurt. That's gotten better because of their models and their ML AI infrastructure they've instituted. So that's why we're seeing Snapchat gain the momentum. And I don't know if it sells off that easily because this is good stuff. Sofi right here, 787. We've got Robin at 1780, not bad at all. I think Snapchat, I don't know if this is an inflection point, but at least it's a turning point for the company to change a little bit into a company that cares about the financials, right? Cares about shareholders a bit more in terms of profitability. And also, if that advertising gets as strong as it is, they are growing users 10% year over year. If they continue to do that, then maybe there is a story to Snapchat. Now, I think it all hinges on profitability. Price of sales of 5 still feels a bit expensive given what you're paying for in terms of the actual moat of Snapchat, which is there, but it's not that gigantic. Their AI subscription thing is also not that crazy. So it's really a question of advertising. And that comes from user growth, but also the targeting of ads. It seems like both of those are going in the right direction, which is why shares are up 30% right now. And hopefully that continues to maintain itself. Can you talk about your thoughts on SoFi? Yeah, let me talk about SoFi until we get the market closed, and then I'll talk more about Tesla, and we'll talk about why Tesla's down after the market close. M. Henriksen says, nice channel, Mick. Greetings from Denmark. Greetings to you, M. Henriksen. Thank you for being here today. Oh, Jensen's going to be on 60 Minutes this Sunday? Wow. I would stream that, but CBS, like, they would not let me keep that on the channel. That's going to be fun. Okay, we're going to see what Jensen says. Now, in terms of SoFi, SoFi right now, what do we got? 788. I've been tweeting a bit about it this morning. I do think SoFi is going to do well. Again, this is the position. The 5 that I put in this morning, by the way, they executed. They executed at 25 cents. So this is the official position. 17 $20 call debit spreads for 2026, 22 cents. And right now they're 25 cents. And we'll see what it turns out to be. Up 3.82%. I think it's up right now, and it's getting bought up because the street's excited about what Noto will potentially do. I know I tweeted today that Noto was like kind of being fun on Twitter, right? And if someone's being that fun on Twitter, it makes you think, all right, maybe the numbers aren't that crazy. Then again, Zucks went to India and went to the UFC, and the numbers were good, but the stock tanked, even though the numbers were good, because that one CapEx number, right, messed things up. But Zucks was also kind of carefree before earnings, which I think you need to be if you are not that worried about the numbers. No one wants to be super aggressive and cocky, and then, they show up and like, it's just not as good as what people thought it could be. So I think SoFi potentially announces a B2B client in the banking space. We know they've been rumored to be working with OneWin when it comes to Galileo and Technesis. If they pump and they don't announce something unique on the B2B side, I think I will sell for sure. I will not hold this because at the end of the day, it's a bank, and unfortunately, lending and banking is just not that exciting, and it's not going to get the multiple. So I think Noto's got to actually prove there's something big on the B2B side. Not saying it can't become a decent company, even just being a bank. I just don't think it's going to give you the gains as quick as you want, especially because the market's not in the appetite to buy, a premium on just the bank, given inflation is a bit more sticky right now. I think there's a chance they actually do announce something in the context of that fintech B2B play. And if that's the case, I think this thing pumps. Now, I think this can also pump just on about $3 billion in deposits over the quarter, which that's historically what they've done. Probably anywhere from 650 to 700,000 members. That should be okay. NBA partnership, all the other partnerships they've done, that should help create the member growth. And then lending should be fine. I mean, they already gave the guidance on that. They're going to be profitable by about 2 cents. Their profitability is going to get better. 790 right now in SoFi, up 4% because of the net income increasing due to the convertible debt changes that they've done. So, and the short float's 18%. So if they execute and the shorts get really scared, they'll cover, which will continue the pump. And even if the pump lasts shortly, on the earnings day, we should get the pump we need to hopefully get some exit liquidity, at least on the options, and maybe keep those options or keep your shares, whatever your strategy is, if they actually show progress on the fintech B2B side. If they don't, it's going to be tough. If they don't, it's going to be tough. Will you live stream? Correct. I'll be live. The numbers will be out at 7:30. Usually it's 7:30. Yeah. So I'll be live. The call starts at 8. So I'll be live. Does the call start at 7:30? Well, I'll be live by like 7. I'll be live 30 minutes before. So, or at least 15 minutes before the numbers. I'll be live. And we'll see. We'll see how that plays out. But I think it'll be good. I think it'll be okay. I mean, the reason I'm saying this also is not really because I've done that much research on it per se. Robinhood 1790. It's because I think the thing has been in a channel and it's bottomed out at 680, and 789 is not that crazy above 680. It's historically gone to 11 in the past and 10 in the past and 9 in the past and stayed there for a bit before it comes back down. So I think it'll just break out of that channel if any good news is there. And it's up to Noto to really show that good news is real. All right, Friday, April 26th. Thank you, everybody, for being here on a Friday and throughout the entire week. The stock market is now closed. Market is officially closed. We got a lot to talk about when it comes to Tesla, a lot to talk about when it comes to some of these other companies as well, particularly Netflix and Google. So let me just pull this up right here, and then we'll go to the equities and see how they did. So let me just pull this here. Okay, cool. All right, here we go. So SoFi, well, let's start off with Palantir. Palantir and Robinhood 1788, up 4.44% on the day. Not bad. Palantir 2251, up 3.69% on the day. Very good stuff for Palantir. Palantir short float, we talked about it in the morning, but that went down 4%. So now their short float is literally less than 5% of the entire float, which is amazing. Very good for Palantir. Sofi right here ending the day up 3.69%, 787. SMCI ending the day up 8.9%. This one got hammered last week, so very nice to see that one's doing well. Tesla right here, again, down 1.1%. We'll talk about that in a second. Robinhood 1788. IWM, wow. Nice little, not breakout, but up 1% on IWM. Not bad. 198. Roku, 5636. Roku is down 10% on the day. We'll pull up their actual numbers because I didn't pull up their actual numbers, but the top line numbers, weren't the best. So we'll do that as well. Amazon up 3.43. Apple down a little bit. QQQ up 1.54. Where's the S&P for the day? S&P's 508. Okay, so S&P for the month. S&P for the month. Let me see this right here. S&P for the month, because remember, we had a very choppy month, right? S&P for the month is down 2%, which is not that crazy. For the past week, it's up 2.8%. And for the past 3 months, it's up 4%. So based on how the next couple of days go of April, we will see where the S&P ends and see where it keeps going from there. Let's look at some of the crypto companies. CleanSpark down 1.59. Coinbase up 5.6. Again, Bitcoin kind of stagnant here at 63,874. Robinhood 1788. Marathon as well up 2.21% on the day. Semis on the day seems like they had a good day. Broadcom is up. Qualcomm is up. TSM was up. Oh, wow. TSM's at 138. This bad boy is basically where it was at before earnings. It got to 127 after earnings because of, honestly, I don't know why it fell. It was like, it was more supply, not demand. They were just like, hey, we can't handle all the demand we have. So the street was like, all right, you have a bottleneck, but that's like not a reason, in my opinion, to get bearish on it. SMCI 858, Nvidia 6.18%, 877. Wow. Nvidia almost 7% on the day. Nvidia added basically 30 billion in market cap. And then Lam Research up 2.65. Let me show you guys the companies that reported today. We didn't look at it in the morning. MicroStrategy, Coin, AMD, and SMCI next week. Wow. Those are going to be big ones. Those are going to be huge. Those are going to be huge. And the thing about MicroStrategy, okay, I don't know if you guys know what's going on with MicroStrategy. They're going to lose money next quarter. They're going to lose like negative 2 cents a share, okay? But if the FASB rules kick in, the FASB rules in a nutshell is just you are able to recognize the paper gains of your crypto assets like Bitcoin on your balance sheet. To my understanding, it is going into effect. I don't know for sure, but if that's the case and they report earnings and they show the crypto profits, their EPS is going to be like $200 a share because they have like such a short float and they have 3 billion in profits, or a little bit more. I think it's like 7 or 8 billion in profits. So they have a crap ton of money that they can show. I don't know exactly how this plays out. The thesis that I've been hearing in the MicroStrategy circle is there's going to be some retail investors that are going to be like, oh my God, this company has $200 per share. Their EPS has gone up by like 10,000x. We need to buy it. Not knowing that like Bitcoin is the reason that's the case. And that's, not necessarily like a reason to buy it. But there might be some momentum from just algorithms that come in and trade it based on that. And so we'll see. We'll see how this plays out. Okay. A couple of companies I want to show you guys. Then we'll talk about Tesla that reported earnings today that we didn't check. So ExxonMobil, let me just pull up the chart while I type them in, and then I'll read the EPS revenue. So ExxonMobil reported today. Exxon ended the day down 2.86%. All right, that's the opposite of Tesla. Exxon, in line with EPS, beat by revenue by 13%. They had 83 billion. Wow, Exxon had 83 billion today. They beat by 13%. Then we had Chevron, CVX. Chevron today, they were up 0.37%. They beat on EPS by 9%, beat on revenue by 3%. Then we had HCA Healthcare. This is a Palantir client as well. HCA Healthcare. They were down 2%. They beat on EPS by 7%, beat on revenue by 3%. So a lot of these companies that might be down could have been because of guidance as well. And then we have Colgate. I don't really look too much at Colgate. That's the toothpaste company. Colgate was up 2% on the day. Colgate did $5 billion in revenue. They beat by 9%. EPS, they beat by 13%. How has Colgate performed historically? Because I'm pretty sure all of us use it every single day, right? To an extent. Like, I know there's other brands, but Colgate year to date, wow, Colgate's up 14%, dude. Holy crap. Colgate's up. Over the past 1 year, it's up 17%. Over the past 5 years, it's up 30%. Since it's gone public in 2000, it's up 209%. Does anyone own Colgate? I mean, we all use it, right? It's like the leading brand here. Wow, Colgate, huh? It's up 5% this week. I never even thought they were public, dude. I never even thought they were public. Interesting. It's definitely underperformed SPY by a lot. Right. Is there a dividend on Colgate? There has to be a dividend. There has to be a dividend. 2%? You get a 2% dividend. All right. Well, that's Colgate. Okay, so let's go into Tesla. What's happening in the world with Tesla? So today, Tesla had some issues in terms of their recall, which is what's leading to a bit of some of the stock price action. I mean, it was at 173 at the top today, but then it got a little dicey as this report came out when it came to what they're doing. So let me pull this up right here. This is a report that came out by Bloomberg. Dax, what's up? Thank you for being here. And autopilot crashes. Tesla Autopilot probed after 20 crashes in months since the recall. So the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration disclosed Friday that it's opened up a query into the autopilot recall Tesla conducted in December. The agency is concerned to whether the company's remedy was sufficient, in part due to 20 crashes that have occurred involving vehicles that received Tesla's over-the-air software update. More than 2 million Tesla vehicles are subject to the probe. I think there's only 6 million on the road. So that's a decent amount of them. The agency found that the autopilot didn't sufficiently ensure drivers stayed engaged in the task of driving, and that the autopilot invited drivers to be overconfident in the system's capabilities. Kind of like if they looked away, the autopilot wouldn't kind of nudge them to care, or just like was a little bit too lenient. Those factors led to foreseeable misuse and avoidable crashes, at least 13 of which involved one or more fatalities, according to the report. So the argument here is that Elon had a software update. That software update was not cautious enough, and as a result of that, people died. Therefore, Tesla is being investigated. The street is upset about that. Now, when FSD really does roll out, it's also going to be, I would imagine, a ton of cases like that in the early days when it actually goes live, because I mean, it's not going to be perfect, right? There's going to be some mistakes there. So let's see. I mean, I don't think that's a reason to crazy sell off the stock. I think that's just like a reaction the street's having randomly because it's pumped a lot and they're afraid that might create a cascading effect to the downside. But Tesla's been through a lot of this over the past few years. And if FSD is getting really good, hopefully they don't have to deal with more of that if the product is just better. But as of now, that is something that the street does care about here. And again, it down 1%, dude. It pumped. I think we forgot Tesla had earnings on Monday, then Meta, then market. This has been an insane week for the markets, right? And Tesla had a phenomenal week. By the way, those 185 calls I had, I lost all my money on those. So it's down 100%. They're gone. $30 down the drain, but it was fun. It was the thrill. And we were up 755% for like 2 hours. So it was worth the excitement of it. Sofi is up 792 after hours. Does this bad boy go to $8 before the end of the day? After hours, that would be fun, dude. That would be fun. $8, and then they crush on earnings. Also, you got to ask yourself, who's buying? Is there retail that's aping into it today? Volume was 83 million on SoFi. Was it retail, or was there a little bit more institutional participation here in terms of the volume today before earnings? Palantir's volume was 32 million. Tesla's volume was 108 million. Wow. That's a decent amount for Tesla. Nvidia's volume, I would say, is like 30, 40 million, 54 million. Yep. And then Google, I'm going to guess Google's volume was 77 million. No, I'm going to say 74. 55. Okay, I was too off on that. 55 million. Google, again, up 9.97% on the day. Not bad. Not bad at all. Learning IV crush for $30 seems like a good deal. Yeah, dude, whenever I lose money in the markets, whether it's on a spread or it's an option or a stock or whatever, hopefully it's not a lot of money. And if it is a lot of money, you're just like, it's a lesson. It's a little expensive lesson, but it is what it is. You learn. The best way to learn is to lose some money so you don't make the same mistake again, because that hurts. And also to make a little bit of money so you know how to make some money. So I think for $30, it's actually a very valuable lesson. That's my way of coping with the fact that I lost $30 fucking dollars. Let's get to Josh Brown and why he bought Netflix today. I thought this was really interesting. Let me know if you guys agree with this after hearing it. Here's what he had to say about buying the dip on Netflix.
All into Alphabet and Microsoft in just a second. Obviously, that's a big story of the day. But first, we've got some big trade alerts actually in tech land specifically. So we've got Josh, Weiss, and Jim all hitting the buy button today, but in different areas. So Josh, I want to start with you. You just bought Netflix here, down about 2%. Why'd you buy it? What are you seeing here? Is this a trade? Is this investment? Tell us what you're seeing.
So right now it's a trade. I've done this before with Netflix. When this stock blew up in, I think, April of 2022, it was, I think, like one of the best buying opportunities for a large cap growth name of the year. And it took a while. It wasn't like a V-shaped recovery. And I don't know that will get a V shape here But once again, the stock is blowing up because the quote unquote long-term shareholders here continue to embarrass the brand. I can't believe that we saw a reaction like we did about them reducing the subscriber guidance. It's such a childish metric to begin with. It's people that don't own a business think that that's like an important thing, when in reality, the company is telling you, focus on revenue, focus on operating margin. The subscriber thing will be up and down. Those are no longer the KPIs. I think that's what a mature company should be telling the street, and that's what Sarandos and Peters had to say. So I gave it a week. I let it settle out. I wanted to see if the stock would hold its support, and that's exactly where it's trading. I can't see the screen. Patty, give me like a 3-year or even a 1-year chart. Take a look at this gap higher from the January earnings report, which was spectacular, by the way, just as this earnings report was. You see how perfectly the buyers came in right where that gap took place. So I think support should hold. It's not a long-term investment here. I just want to trade the overblown reaction. I do have a stop loss. I may not be in the stock if it continues to sell off. But I think watching the buyers come in where they did, I think the stock's okay here. It's not that they're not going to tell you how many subscribers they have. It's that they're going to tell you about the big milestones, not the noisy quarter-to-quarter data. And anyone that actually runs a business will tell you the number of clients is not a number. It's like it's a vanity metric, but revenue and operating margin, those are the numbers that really matter. And I think people will get over it, and I think the stock should be okay.
I have a different opinion on the subscriber argument. Ultimately, I agree that, like, yeah, you don't have to disclose it. You're a mature company. I do think that not disclosing it or saying you're not going to disclose it can really spook out investors, and there's no need to do that. You can just be more upfront with them about why you're not disclosing it, or just tell them, hey, don't take it that seriously. But I do think Josh is right. I think it's probably overblown in terms of the sell side, because the numbers were fantastic. Operating margins were up 54%. Subscribers beat by 5 million. So I think as a trade back to 630 from what, 540 right now? What gain is that? 630 minus 540 divided by 540. That's a 17% gain. Yeah, it's not crazy. Not a crazy idea. Not a crazy idea at all. Amit, can you tell us your stance on SoFi and why you aren't as bullish? I think you guys know my stance on SoFi, why I'm not bullish. It's a bank. That's it. It's a bank. I've said this many times. I think you guys can, you can tell I've lost my bullishness on SoFi. Now I'm bullish for the long-term outlook of the B2B side, which I think can provide SoFi a multiple. Without that, I don't know how it gets an insane multiple, a multiple like a Palantir, a multiple like a Robinhood even, without the B2B side making sense, which is why I keep saying, like, if Noto drops the hammer on the B2B side, which they've been talking about for 4 years now, it's time to show up, right? Like, and the stock's down, how much? The stock's down like 60% all time, 70% all time. Like, at this point, if you don't show up and show the growth on the B2B side, which is the core point. Remember, if you watch my first SoFi video that I uploaded on the channel, I forgot the title of it, but if you type in Amit SoFi, it'll pop up or something. It was primarily because this whole B2B, like AWS, a fintech thing. And I didn't really understand it back then. Now I understand it more. But outside of that, you're buying a bank, and there are better banks to buy. So the question becomes, why does the growth of this bank make it a better bank, right? They're growing 37% year over year with members and lending. But at the end of the day, the margins on lending is not that amazing. So if you're really buying it because you hate Bank of America and Wells Fargo and you just get a great experience on SoFi, phenomenal. I don't know if that's enough to make this a huge, huge company. Now, if the brokerage was a phenomenal experience as an investor, that would get me excited. The brokerage fucking sucks. We can all agree. Sorry for the French, but it sucks, right? It's not even comparable to some of these apps out there. So I'm not sure what's the most exciting thing about this. Sonny says, bro, it's way more than a bank, and banks are safe businesses. Yes, but the price to books on banks are not insane. And SoFi doesn't trade that crazy outside of its price, outside of historically how a bank should be trading on a price to books basis, right? You could argue there's a little bit of upside from there, but there's not a ton of it if you're just valuing it as a bank. So my question then becomes to the SoFi bulls that don't think the B2B tech side of the business is what justifies the multiple. What justifies the multiple? And you can't really say the growth, because the growth is not insanely profitable growth, right? You can buy other banks out there that are incredibly more profitable. So I think we have to understand that. Now, I'm not a bear. I keep saying I'm not a bear on SoFi. I like SoFi. It's just I think the B2B side is what I'm the most bullish about. And hopefully Noto shows that on Monday. Like if they add 900,000 members, I don't think the street's going to care, dude. I really don't think the street's going to care. Like they didn't care in the past, dude. Remember October 2023, they added 700,000 members. They didn't care. Also, you got to ask yourself, why is every stock pumped instead of SoFi from the October lows back in 2023? It's because a lot of these other stocks have multiples associated with them for future growth that are exciting to the street versus just the bank. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. You're bearish because Chris is bearish. Not really, dude. I've got about $6 grand on this thing. Like Chris has 0 on this thing. It's not really because of Chris's thesis. It's more so I've just been asking myself, there's all these opportunities in the market. Why do you want to get bullish over a bank over all these other opportunities? Also, by the way, if you guys haven't heard the spaces I did with Chris, Data-Driven Investing, who's a big SoFi bull, you need to listen to those spaces on Twitter. I'll try to get a link and put it in the chat in a second. That was one of the best spaces we've had on SoFi, and I asked him all these questions. So for all those that think I'm just talking out of my ass here, if you listen to his responses are blatantly agreeing with my questions, but giving his perspective on why he's buying. And his main reason for why he's buying is because he likes using the app. He likes using the bank over other banks. He started using it in 2021, and he believes they're undervalued because of that customer experience and because of the growth they will get. But that's the core point of it. Also, I asked Chris on Finance Junkies once, Data-Driven Investing, Chris, hey, if SoFi didn't have this B2B tech side of the business that was growing, do you think you'd be a shareholder? And he pretty much said, no, like that's got to be a big component that grows. And that growth just hasn't fully been there yet. When it comes, it'll be exciting. But until then, we're going to have to see how this plays out. Granted, I think they're going to crush because are you going live for SoFi earnings? Yes. I think they're going to crush because, dude, it's sold off. Like, let's go to the historical chart on this. The thing is, I mean, maybe it's like a Snapchat, right? Where it's just sold off. Year to date, dude, oh, this is disgusting. It's down 18% year to date. Do we really think this is going to $5? Especially if they crush on the growth, which I think we all know they're going to do. Over the past 1 year, it's up 30%, but that's because it bottomed here at 485, right? And then over the past 5 years, it's down 24%. Over the past 6 months, it's up 14%. But again, it bottomed here around that 694 range. And over the past month, it's up 7%, which is nice. So year to date, this has not been a good stock. I do think it's going to pump. And again, maintaining that pump requires a reason for the shorts to get upset. Palantir in 2024 or 2023 for Q4, what did they do? They grew 70% year over year US commercial. The shorts got scared, dude. That's why we saw the pump from 16 to fucking 27 over like 3 weeks. The shorts got scared that this thing is going to continue compounding. And then you get $189 million from the government. Like you just get these ridiculous contracts like Titan that are overnight. You add $200 million to, like, it's just, SoFi doesn't have that type of a business because they're a bank. They're not like a tech company. If they initiate themselves as a tech company with the bank and the bank that's growing 37% year over year, or 40%, whatever it is right now, I think it's a $15 stock easily, but they've got to do that. And I think this earnings is where we're going to see if they do that. You guys are comparing Hood to SoFi. I think we all know the point about Hood, dude. I think we know the difference between Robinhood and SoFi. Dude. First of all, the thesis for Robinhood, I was thinking about this today. Everyone's trying to get all these complex analyses, and partly because of me, because I've talked about it so much. The thesis is Bitcoin goes up, Robinhood goes up. It's that simple. We don't even have to complicate it anymore. SoFi right here, 792 after hours, Robinhood 1788. Bitcoin goes up, this thing's going to go up. And if you believe in Bitcoin, then you believe in Robinhood. Now, there's a lot of other nuances to the thesis, which is why it's so exciting as a company. But that's also one thing that SoFi doesn't have. They don't have the crypto part of their thesis. They just don't. And that's okay. They're a bank. They're not allowed to have the crypto part. That's why people are like, oh, Robinhood should get a bank charter. I'm like, no, the SEC would take away their crypto trading. That shouldn't happen. And they're basically a bank for everybody with their deposits. Like, so by the way, give us some context. Robinhood does about $3 billion in deposits every month. SoFi does $3 billion every quarter. There is a difference between how people are putting money into these apps. So even the people that are like, oh, but SoFi's member growth is amazing, 680,000 a quarter. Robinhood's only getting 100,000 accounts. Yeah, but the members aren't depositing money. Why is Robinhood getting 3x the amount of deposits? Like, why is that happening? It's a brokerage. It's not a bank. All this direct deposit that's going into SoFi, apparently it's not resulting in more direct deposits than from Robinhood, even though Robinhood's not a bank. And then on top of that, how many of those members are actually active, right? How many of those members actually use that thing? That's another question that I think we have to think about when it comes to just, which is why the street doesn't give a shit about the member growth, right? They care about the business at a much more deeper level at the end of the day. So that's my thesis on it. Overall, not as bullish as I used to be. I hope it does very well, but I think the B2B side, if that goes well, then the overall company should do well. But if that doesn't go well, I don't know, dude. I don't know if lending and member growth is enough, especially with regular banks that, are still not getting a crazy premium, even though they're way more profitable. Yeah, they're not growing that much. But again, you're when you're buying a bank, you're not putting a crazy multiple. You're putting the value of their loans at the end of the day and what small margin they can make off those loans. It doesn't deserve a crazy multiple. But if SoFi is the B2B side, then I think it does deserve a much more sophisticated multiple. All right, so that's the preview on SoFi. We'll see what happens from there. We talked about SoFi 793 after hours, not bad at all. Hood association with Citadel will eventually bring it down. I love seeing these comments. These are the best comments, dude. These are the best ones. I mean, maybe that'll happen. We'll see. What else do we have right here? Is Tesla not a car company? No, Tesla is absolutely not just a car company, in my opinion, dude. Like that's like, there's this video that came out yesterday on full self-driving that I watched. It was absolutely phenomenal. I mean, like I was just watching 10 minutes of it, and I was watching this thing navigate. It was a Model S navigate a ton of a Berkeley campus or something, San Francisco, something there, and it was incredible. It was incredible.
Just drive myself.
It was incredible. Like, look at this thing. It's just doing everything it had to. It was pretty good. I mean, it's not perfect, but like it was to the point. And even Gary Black today, I was very interesting to see Gary Black ended up putting out some comments on Twitter today, also saying, hey, FSD is getting really good. And Gary Black, remember, he took his victory lap last week when the thing, what happened? When the thing, when it fell to 140. But now he's getting exciting. Look at this right here. Here's Gary Black. Gary, are you becoming an FSD true believer? It's getting pretty amazing. He only has 2% of his portfolio in Tesla. One could argue he thinks FSD is what's going to do what it needs to do and maybe up that stake, right? So I think Tesla's not just a car company, even though I know 95% of the revenue is cars. It's a tech company. And it's a tech company that has a data advantage that's very nice. It's just going to take a long time for that tech to play out. And that's why Tesla and the SoFi comparison isn't really the best there. AMC's down 4.4% after hours. Okay, why is that the case? I don't really know. We'll see. AMC down 3%. I don't know. Yeah, I guess. Well, it was up 3% today. Now it's giving away some of those gains. How is the volume on AMC 13.8 million, dude? That is insane. 13 million shares are still traded of this thing. Just crazy, dude. The management also has just obliterated shareholder value with the dilution they've done and the reverse splits. I mean, it's really disgusting to see what they've done, and they've taken advantage of relatively good people that I think got caught up in a stupid story. And yeah, it's sad to see that happening. All the FSD videos are fake. Okay, I don't think that's the case. I think some of them, actually the ones that actually are supervised, they're real because you can see them grab onto the wheels when things get a little rocky, right? So I think the far majority of them are real, especially by Holmars. He's a big Tesla guy, so he's been there for a long time. How about NEO? I told you they were going to go up. Okay, NEO. Let's go to NEO. NEO's what, 450 or something? 449. Okay, it's up 8% on the day. That's not bad. It's down 95% all time. But at 380, yeah, it probably had nowhere to go but up. So if you got in at 380, then that's great. The problem with NEO, again, dude, is just, NEO has some really interesting battery technology. Like, they really do on the EV side. It's just, one, it's a Chinese company. Two, if EV demand is already hurting Tesla, especially in China, it's not like BYD and NEO are just going to come up and scoop up all the cars, right? It's going to be tough to see how that happens. Nolac says people are sleeping on Mercedes. They've made some quiet moves over the last few years. Yeah, they initiated a little bit of, I think, a new EV autonomy thing today. I was reading they released something like that. But the problem is Mercedes is always going to be a little bit too expensive, I think, for most people. I was reading today, a Tesla, you can get a Tesla with the regulatory credit for $35,000, the cheapest, which is not that bad, dude. At the end, like $35,000 is not that crazy at all. So the question becomes, is that compelling enough of an offer? And is that also a compelling enough offer to pay $99 a month for when it comes to FSD when that goes live? Whereas I don't know if you can get a Mercedes EV for that cheap. Rafi says, yep, I got that Tesla recently. That's amazing. That's amazing. Rafi, by the way, your name, I went to school with a kid named Rafi, R-A-F-I. And I didn't go to his school. He went to a different school, but we were on the same debate circuit together. He was the weirdest kid ever. I'm just gonna say, so I'm sorry to say that, but he was like the weirdest kid ever. I don't even know if this is your real name, Rafi, but he was cool. He was super smart. I think he's like a research assistant now at Georgetown or something. He's a smart guy, but he was the weirdest kid as well. So if you're weird, then that's good because that means you're probably smart. Okay, PayPal. Earnings preview. We have PayPal on Tuesday. PayPal Holdings is expected to post an earnings of $1.22 a share when it comes to PayPal. This is going to be on April 30th. 6.7% increase in revenue. We're expecting 7.5 billion from 7.04 billion a year ago, which is not bad. If they can get surprised to like 7.5%, I think that would be better. And 122 per share. Now, the interesting thing about PayPal, and the thing that I think we need to remember about PayPal, is they introduced a couple of innovations, about 6 of them, in regards to all the different ways they're going to create user interaction and a sort of AI moat to their products. The idea being, hey, we're PayPal. We have all this exciting data. We can create this marketplace of data, and we can get more people to interact with the data in a more meaningful way. My question becomes, now it's been almost 6 months since they announced that stuff, roundabout, or about 4 or 5 months. What is that going to do to the stock? What is that going to do to the bottom line numbers? PayPal right here, wow, up 2.9% today. I didn't see that. Almost at $66 after hours, $65.99. And so if some of those innovations actually come into effect, maybe that's going to be very good for SoFi, for PayPal. SoFi right here, $7.94. I think SoFi might try to make a run for $8, dude. Maybe there is some selling that's happening some buying after hours before earnings to pump this bad boy to $8. Maybe. And if that can get to $8, Noto drops the hammer, lending growth is good, member growth is good, and then overall B2B, they make a real big announcement. They're a real splash. Again, my number is 974 for SoFi. Basically the opposite of 794, 974. I think 974 is possible. And if that happens, that'll be really fun. But we got to see it. The other thing I'm curious about, let's look at their chart, is can they sustain the pump? So if we go to the year to date, this is when it was right here around 641 in November, pumped to 1049. You see that? 641 to 1049. Not bad at all, right? 640 to 1041. Okay? Or 1049. And then 1049 all the way down to what? 759 right before earnings, and then popped up right here to 945. So 721 to 945. That was the jump. And then it just fell to back to 780. And then after a couple of weeks, it bottomed at 682. This is when I started buying most of my options right here. And so the idea is from 682, can we get back down or back up to that 945-ish range? Even that would be amazing. And I think that would be awesome for longs. But I'm telling you, dude, there's so many people that have the stock that are just going to get annoyed at this point if this thing doesn't hold up, because it's been under $10. It's been single digits for so long. This is also why I think we're going to get a pump, because at some level, even like Palantir, remember in May of 2023, Palantir was under $10, and specifically under like $8 for almost 15 months roundabout. And at some point, the company made a pivot. In this case, it was two quarters of GAAP profitability, and everything changed, right? They took off. Like, they really started building momentum. SoFi's done the GAAP profitability, but again, they're not being valued like as a big tech company. There's so many other companies that are exciting out there. So I don't think the street's giving it a ton of respect. If they introduce the B2B side, they make a real change, and they really make you feel like not owning SoFi is not owning the future of banking, then, maybe we finally get out of that single digit range. Just like a Palantir did, just like a Robinhood did to an extent, right? Robinhood crushed their numbers back in Q4 2023, and they got out of that $9 to $11 range and started moving forward. I think all these companies, what I'm noticing is they have a quarter where everything changes. There's an inflection point, things change. Management says, hey, we got our shit together, right? And SoFi just needs to do that. If they do that, it's going to be fun. Wayne says, I honestly don't think people are ready for the PayPal run. When it moves towards 75, it will shock the world. Hopefully it finally shocks the world. I think PayPal still can get to $100 by the end of the year. Like, we haven't seen the full bull run yet with rate cuts, Bitcoin, etc. When that happens, $90 is the fair value today, like on a standard DCF today, given their growth, $90 is fair value. So it's deeply undervalued. Question is if it can get back to that $90 range by the end of the year. Some news right here. Japanese public company MetaPlanet just bought $6.5 million of Bitcoin. We do know Asian markets are starting to get more excited about Bitcoin. So we got that update right there, that there are some more companies across the world starting to buy a little bit more of Bitcoin. Amit, what are your thoughts on Kava? Kava is interesting. I asked, we can put in the chat, what company, CMG, Chipotle is up 33% year to date. It's up more than every big tech company outside of NVIDIA, including Google. It's up more than Google. It's up more than Microsoft, more than Apple, more than Facebook, etc. Especially because Facebook fell. but it's up 33% year to date. What company currently that's in the food space could become a Chipotle one day? Chipotle has gone up 1,000% since they went public, up 33% for the year. Kava's up 10% today. Does anyone know why it's up 10%? They didn't have earnings. Was there any news that came out? Kava stock. But what company do you think could actually pump that high? Kava enters the Midwest region, which is with its first Chicago restaurant. So they're expanding, I believe. Also, oh, wow, some articles are saying they went up just because Chipotle went up. So they said Chipotle results were so good that the street's giving Kava the multiple right now. Is Kava the next Chipotle? That's the question. Is Kava the next Chipotle? Some people are saying it's Shake Shack. I think Shake Shack's not healthy enough. Because I think the thing about Chipotle is not that it's just good food. Shake Shack's up 3.45%. Year to date, it was at 64 back in January. Oh, wow. It's up almost 70% roundabout. Yeah. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. But the thing about Chipotle, though, is it's healthy, which is why I feel it's more universal. Shake Shack, it's not healthy at all, even though it's amazing burgers. I love them. But I don't know if they have the same appeal as as a Chipotle to an extent. First time I'm hearing about Kava. Yeah, Kava's Mediterranean food, right? That's the thing about Kava. I've never had it before, but I think it is Mediterranean. Restaurants have a low profit margin. That's also the thing, which is why the scale has to be so immense, which is what Chipotle has. How many restaurants does Chipotle have? I'm going to guess like 2,000. How many? 3,371 in the United States and 66 international. Okay, so about 3,500. It's a lot. It's a lot of restaurants, dude, at the end of the day. Matt says Chipotle is the only fast food I eat. See, people like Matt that will only eat Chipotle, I think that's why Chipotle's done so well, because it's a healthy alternative to eating out and getting McDonald's or any of this other like stuff that's just not that good for you, right? Palantir right here, 2248 after hours. So I think a company would need to do that. And Kava Mediterranean, I don't know if everyone loves that. Everyone can eat a burrito and everyone can eat a salad, which is what Chipotle basically offers at its core. Cheesecake Factory has been public for a while and it hasn't really performed the way I think most people want to perform. So I don't know if cheesecake would be the stock. But Texas Roadhouse. Oh, that's a good one too. I know Joseph Carlson loves that one. That's at all-time highs as well, right? Texas Roadhouse. There's one near me. I haven't been there in so long. Last time I went, I tried to get a seat. It was too packed and then I left. This one, year to date, it was at 115 in the beginning of the year. Let's go 5 years. It was at 23. Wow, during COVID. So this one's 7x'd. Yeah, 700% on Texas Roadhouse. Market cap 10.5 billion. Not crazy. Not crazy at all. Chipotle is the best fast food. Comparatively, is competitively priced. I don't know why people choose garbage like McDonald's over Chipotle. I agree. Let's give a call to Steve. I was talking to him earlier today. Let's see what he has to say about some of these stocks. He's been really busy, so let's see if he picks up. And then we'll end it off with getting his thoughts if he picks up. CrowdStrike, they have earnings in like a month, I think. We'll see how CrowdStrike goes. I think them and Palo Alto are still down a little bit from the last earnings. Chipotle stock. Okay, yeah, he's in a meeting. He's at 10 minutes. Okay, so I'm not gonna call him here. We wanted to get him on Finance Junkies yesterday. He wanted to be on, but he just got too busy, dude. I'm telling you, Steve is working. Steve is busy. Okay, cool. So let's do some final predictions here, and then we'll do a little bit of Q&A, and then I'll get you guys out of here. SoFi's on Monday. Where do you think SoFi goes? Because we can't do we could do the predictions right before the earnings come out, but today, where do you think SoFi goes? What's your price? Oh, TJ couldn't make it either, dude. But TJ's with his wife at some resort thingy, so he couldn't make it. But TJ did sell some puts on Robinhood. I think we're getting close to closing up the TSLL position because Tesla pumped and Shopify's doing well. So and he wrote some calls on Enphase the other day. But we'll update you guys next week on that. What do you think SoFi ends at? What do you think SoFi ends at on Monday? What do you think it closes at? Not where it pumps. Where does it close at on Monday? Which is a harder question because you can guess the pump, but guessing the close is a bit harder. It's not as easy to guess the close. 905, $9. Hector says, I know nobody cares, but AMC is going to run. You're right. No one gives a fuck. 1050. I'm sorry, Hector, but it's just we didn't no one cares. Eric Woods at 12. SoFi is 925. 11.27, $10, $4, $12. All right, everyone's bullish, dude. Everyone's bullish. $6.99, dude. Get Ray out of here. Can we kick Ray out of the chat? $6.99, dude. If SoFi ends at $6.99 on Monday, oh my god, dude, it's gonna just be. I forgot Kathy's in the stock as well. Kathy has a shit ton of shares of SoFi also, so she's gonna be watching that one pretty closely. It better not close below 7, dude. If that happened, there's just no way I see that happening. It's gonna be before markets. 4 markets. No way. SoFi down 5% on earnings and then up 8.20 after it bounces. You know, that's actually realistic. So if I could drop 5% on earnings and then just bounce up high, that's actually not that crazy to imagine. I think 9.74. I think $9.74. That's where it goes. I think Monday before the bell. Yes. I think it just has to. It has to, like, again, just like Sundar had to give a dividend and he did it. Noto has to do something that's different. Carp had bombastic results and he made you feel dumb. By the way, speaking of Carp, I posted this on Twitter the other day. This was a refresh of how Carp ended the earnings call last quarter. He had this is the type of energy Noto needs. He has to bring it, and he's acting real cocky on Twitter, which is great. I love it. But if he doesn't have this energy, I think it's going to be hard for the street to get super excited. Also, remember the convertible debt thing pissed off a lot of people, right? A lot of retail investors, including myself, that didn't fully understand it. Obviously, it wasn't a big deal, and it was actually ultimately good for the company. Even Chris, data-driven investing, was kind of iffy about it when I talked to him about it. But still, it pissed off people, and I think they've got to show that was for good reason, and they're going to surprise to the upside. Here's Carp at the last earnings call. This was the last minute of what he said before they ended the call.
We are fighting for the West and its allies to be stronger, and I very much appreciate your support. At this company, we think about our investors. Our most important investors are at Palantir. Our second most important investors are people investing their own money. And we relish your support, and it gives us a lot of motivation. I meet individual investors every time I go to a customer, basically. And I've had individual investors I've met at 2, 3 a.m. on a VTC, and I ask them, well, why are you working at 3 a.m. to make your enterprise better in AIP or Foundry? And they basically all say the same thing, because Palantir is fighting for my rights and my liberty. And we are fighting for your rights and your liberty, and we are going to continue to fight for that the way we do that, which is by delivering the best products to our allies, by hurting our adversaries, and by giving U.S. commercial the strength it needs to massively outperform every other country in the world. So thank you.
He gets people to care, dude. He gets people to care. Sometimes, dude, there was someone, I posted this video 2 days ago, and someone commented, I just bought 500 shares. Like, I'm not saying that's good or bad buying 500 shares on watching a video. What I'm saying is that people invest where they feel comfortable, they feel safe, and they like the person they're investing in. At the end of the day, we're all investing in people. All of us love Noto. There's no question about that. It's just the results haven't fully played out in the context of what Noto's thesis has been, what SoFi's thesis has been. And so if he could have that energy, I wish they did a video call, dude. Like, isn't it so cool that Palantir is one of the only companies that does a video con? Because they know, like, that you should see them actually speaking. Like, Carp puts on a show, dude. It's a fucking rock star show. Why doesn't Noto do that? You know, Elon too. Why doesn't Elon do? I mean, like, I feel like a lot of these companies would be awesome if they do that, but Palantir doing that already makes you feel a little bit closer to the company on earnings, because we don't get to hear from them that much as investors, right? So I think if Noto talks like that, makes people feel like that, that's going to be exciting. Also, this talk in the chat about dividends, they're barely profitable, as Katie says. They're not paying a dividend. There's no way. Like, that's just not happening. If that happens, like, the company's screwed. If they're growing 40%, they don't need to be paying a dividend at all. And, you know, to pay a dividend, you need to have excess capital. They are barely putting up 2 cents of profitability for EPS. So the dividend's not happening. But they need to prove things are different this time. And I think they will. I really think they will. I really think they will. And it's going to be fun to see how it happens. All right, that's the end of the market close. We'll do like 10 minutes of Q&A, and then we'll get out of here. So if you guys want to leave, that is it. Palantir Weekly will be here tonight, 11 p.m. And we'll talk more about everything in the world of Palantir. And then Chris and I will do the Snowflake podcast tomorrow. I'm not sure what time. I'm pretty sure in the morning, I think. So we'll do the Snowflake pod. And then at night, I'll just do like a regular stream at night. So, yeah, thank you all for joining. If you want to leave, you can leave. If you want to stay for some Q&A, we'll stay for Q&A, and then we'll be done. Actually, yeah, Steve. Okay, I'm going to say text me when you're good. Because if we're doing, text me when you're good. If we're doing Q&A, he should be able to hop on for a little bit. Did TJ survive the flight? Yes. Yes, TJ is good. TJ survived the flight. Michael Wilder says, I need big dick energy from Noto. I agree. We need some big dick energy, dude. And if he can deliver a dick that is big, then the energy hopefully should follow. And hopefully we all get fucked by the big dick, but because it's a big dick, we get fucked in a good way, not in a bad way. You know what I mean? So let's see what Noto can do. Monday we feast on ramen noodles and hot dogs or lobster and steak. Basically, that's how it's gonna play out. What? It was a good metaphor. What are you guys talking about? Saying sheesh. It was a good metaphor. It was a good metaphor. I'm not buying Intel, but I had a friend on Twitter who bought 1,000 shares of Intel at 31 or 30, and she's already up 1,000 on it. I'm not buying Intel, dude. I need to learn more about it. I'm gonna talk to Jose. Me and Jose might do our podcast tomorrow as well, and I'll discuss more about it. I'm a little scared of Intel. I don't get it yet. I do think the sell-off is overdone, but I don't know if it's a value trap or if there's momentum. So we will see. Imagine Karp, Noto, and Elon running a company together. Would you buy a stock with Karp, Noto, and Elon? I feel like there are three big personalities that would be too aggressive towards each other. Like they couldn't get shit done. They would just hate each other. I feel like it would be hard. It would be really hard for them to keep doing what they want to do. That's a nightmare. Yeah, that's a little too much. Now on paper it seems cool as them as the management, but it would be tough to see them play out all together. LOL, you're a poet, Amit. Thank you, Ray. I appreciate that. It's hard to, be the modern day Shakespeare. See, I can't even say Shakespeare right because the S and the H, if you're part of the market open, like the S and the H, that kills me there. It's very hard to do that. Noto would be daddy and Karp and Elon would fight too much. Yeah, I agree. But Karp and Elon would fight probably in an intellectual way. Because Elon's a little bit more Peter Thielish than, Karp's on the left, Elon's more on the right. It's becoming apparent. By the way, you guys saw Bill Ackman yesterday said he's voting for Trump. Basically said he's voting for Trump. It's going to be interesting to see how the election cycle plays out. Also, we'll be able to cover the election live on the channel. So basically, when election season starts in October-ish, we'll cover it. We'll be live the day of election, and we'll see how it plays out. I think it's gonna be fun. I think it's gonna be really cool, and it's gonna be wild. It's gonna be wild to see that Trump versus Biden rematch. Oh, Biden also said he's ready to debate Trump, so that'll be fun to cover. Dude, it's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be absolutely insane. It's gonna be wild. Q&A. How do you live life being such a sexy beast? It's like it's not easy. It really takes a lot of due diligence and practice and all that stuff, but you just figure it out the more you go. You just figure it out. It becomes normal at some point. You don't worry about how sexy of a beast you are when it normalizes. Eduardo, thank you for the super chat. What do you think to buy Palantir now before earnings? Yeah, I've been buying Palantir. I think yes. Not financial advice or whatever, but if I have some extra cash, I'd buy Palantir. I think it'll do well. And if it dips after earnings, that's fine because I think the numbers are going to be good. So the dip would be irrational, just like Meta. Then you buy more. But I'm buying Palantir before earnings. X and Robinhood should partner. That probably won't ever happen. I don't know if Elon loves Vlad because Elon didn't like the Vlad GameStop situation. So I don't know. Maybe Vlad loves Elon. Remember, I asked him on that on the podcast, like, who is the CEO you look up to, and he said Elon. I'm pretty sure Elon doesn't hate Vlad or anything, but I don't know if they would actually partner. That would be crazy, though, right? If Twitter and Robinhood partnered, that would be wild. Austin says, "Can you stream the debate?" Yes, I would stream the debate. The thing about the partnership, though, is that I don't know what the partnership would look like outside of instituting Robinhood's brokerage inside of Twitter, so that when you're trading stocks on Twitter, it's kind of trading on Robinhood, which maybe there's like a play there, but probably not that crazy. Is Palantir considered a defense company? Yes. By the way, there was a clip someone sent me of an analyst talking about Palantir. Let me pull it up. It was Bryn. It was one of the analysts on CNBC. That was her last trade. She said she likes Palantir. Let me play that as well. And let's see. Elon did troll Vlad a bit after the GME stuff, but it seemed that Elon tried to give Vlad a chance to clear there. Yeah, 100%, dude. 100%. Listen to that Clubhouse recording. Definitely said, I was listening to the other day. I think it was like a month ago because I was just trying to remember what was happening. I think I listened to it in real time when Clubhouse was a thing. By the way, put in the chat if you use Clubhouse at all anymore. And it was so funny because Elon was just like, so why'd you close the buy button? And Vlad was like, hello, my name is Vlad Tenev. I'm the CEO of Robinhood. And Elon was like, no one cares. Why'd you close the buy? It was hilarious because Vlad was like trying to introduce himself to like this huge audience that he's never talked to before. And Elon's over here saying, who the fuck are you? Or why'd you do this? Okay, so here's the video where she talks about Palantir. Let's see if we can get the exact spot. I think it gets, she's going to go here. So it's at the end. Okay, so when she starts talking, she talks about Palantir. Okay, here we go.
Chip companies, but I do think there's more room to run here.
Okay. Bryn, Palantir on pace to break a 4-week losing streak.
Yeah, I mean, Palantir was an AI company before AI was cool. This is without a doubt. I think there's no other software company that has the scale of the military contracts. And I think it's a misunderstood company because that's what most people think it still does. They continue to get big awards from US and US friendly countries. But really what I'm excited and why I bought the stock is what they're doing on the commercial side. They've been doing these within their AI platform, these AI boot camps. Last quarter, that was up 70% year over year. The commercial revenue, just plain and simple, was up 30%. The stock made 3 cents, the earnings 3 cents last quarter. I think this is early days for them. They're hiring a sales team to really go after the commercial traffic. I think that they're so trusted. Their earnings come out at about 9 or 10 days. I think this is one to watch that has a lot more upside.
Shares are up 3% here today. Josh, you got a big one. Matter.
I mean, you know what's so funny? It kind of seems like she was talking about the Bloomberg article about Palantir. This is why I said that Bloomberg article is important, dude. Maybe, all of us don't read Bloomberg every day. Bloomberg has a crazy amount of distribution. She basically said she bought them because of their commercial success, and her reasoning for the commercial success was the boot camps. I'm pretty sure she read the Bloomberg article and she was like, oh, cool, boot camps, buy. That's it. And then she went on national television in front of thousands of people and said, yep, Palantir, boot camps, commercial, buy. And so that's why Bloomberg doing a piece on you matters, especially in a positive light. So now if it's a negative light, you can also get the downside, right? But there you go. There you go. And that's why she got it. That's why she got it. I'll take 10 shares of this wonderful woman. Is that Lana Del Rey? Okay, no. So it's not Lana Del Rey. Lana Del Rey is a very interesting person. The reason, let me check on some after hours market as well. Lana Del Rey is a really interesting person because Lana Del Rey is a singer that I knew pretty well in college. And the reason I knew her pretty well in college, and I used to not listen to her too much, but the reason I knew her pretty well is because I was talking to this girl who was fucking in love with Lana Del Rey, dude. And she, I remember, I think the first song I heard was, what was the first song I heard? American something with A$AP Rocky. It was some music video she did with A$AP Rocky. And I was talking to this girl and I liked the girl a bit. And so I started getting to fucking Lana Del Rey. And I was like, oh, what's so interesting about Lana? And then I realized Lana Del Rey is like the most mysterious woman singer on the planet. Like, she's not like Ariana Grande that'll like, yeah, thank you, next. Like, no, that's not going to be, it's going to be these songs that are so deeply emotional and shit. And I'm just like, that's really interesting, And so I got into her music, and her music is actually good. Video Games, one of my favorite songs by Lana Del Rey. What was the other song that's really good? Summertime Sad. That one's okay. That one's all right. But Video Games, I think, is the best one from Lana Del Rey. Now, I haven't listened to her recent stuff, but Born to Die in 2012, that was the best album. And that was her songs with A$AP Rocky are fire, correct? Yeah, 100%. It is fire. So I think that's also one of the interesting things about Lana Del Rey as well. Now, granted, I don't listen to her new stuff because she just puts out stuff that's like weird and it's too like in depth, and I don't have the patience. By the way, the Taylor Swift album is selling 2 million. It's selling 2 million. What do you call it? 2 million copies this week, and the Taylor Swift album from a really good music reviewer got a 0 out of 10 in terms of reviews. Do you guys listen to this guy on YouTube? His name is Needle Drop. I don't know if you guys listen to this guy. I'm just going to pull it up a little bit. Needle Drop. This guy, like, he's well respected in the music space. And in the music space, dude, he's just like, I mean, okay, so let me show you this thing. When he wears a red shirt, you guys know this guy? When he wears a red shirt on a thumbnail, that means the album got a 0. And I'm not going to lie, dude. I tried listening to some of this Taylor Swift shit. It was bad, dude. I was just like, what is this? There's no shake it off on this. He sucks. He doesn't suck, okay? Maybe he doesn't like Drake as much. And Drake is like, one of my favorite artists, and he's a bit more bearish against Drake. But overall, I think his analysis is pretty in-depth. Yeah, he hated this. So Taylor Swift and Lana Del Rey are two fundamentally different artists. Lana Del Rey is super like mysterious, going deep. And then Taylor Swift she has like 17 different boyfriends. She breaks up with them. She'll start talking about them. And, like the music will just reflect in totally different avenues, right? It's better than Lana Del Rey. I think Lana Del Rey is more deeper than Taylor Swift. I don't know if it's better. Now, Taylor Swift has more hits than Lana. Why are we talking about Lana Del Rey versus Taylor Swift? How do we get here? But the point is, I like Lana Del Rey. I don't listen to too much of her stuff. I like Taylor Swift. Her new stuff is not that good. Both of them American pop idols. Okay, that's it. I'm analyzing them like stocks, dude. Didn't I say the guy's bearish on Drake? I said he's fucking. I'm using these stock words into this shit. Okay, let me see if I can call Steve. It's been 10 minutes. Let's see if he picks up. Let's see if we can get Steve here. Thoughts on the Drake diss from Kendrick? Well, he hasn't released it yet, right? That's the problem with Kendrick. He's got to stop being scared and actually release the diss. I think Steve's probably in a meeting. No, he said 1 minute ordering Chinese. This guy, dude. This fucking guy. All right, what are you eating for dinner tonight while we're waiting for Steve? What are you eating for dinner? Is it Chinese? Is it are you eating? Do you guys eat out on a Friday? I think most people tend to eat out on a Friday, or they order something on a Friday. Yeah, he'll call in a second. Fish and chips. Okay, we got Dominic from the UK. I eat out like every day. Okay, that's fair. Chipotle. I had too many chips, so I'm fasting for dinner. Okay, that's gotta do what you gotta do. Amit, what is the birthday of your YouTube channel? Also, can we do a viewing party of your first YouTube video sometime? Dude, that'd be so awkward, bro. I think the actual, like the first video was like February 2021, but the real first video was November 2021. Dude, I don't want to watch it. It's too cringe, dude. I can't watch that shit. Way too cringe. Way too cringe. I can't watch it. It would just be weird. I mean, I'll do it, but it's just weird. Maybe tomorrow on the Saturday stream, maybe we'll do it. It's just weird, dude. It's just like watching it is just, I don't know. What time on SoFi's announcement? 7:30. 7:30. Yeah, it's a big beard. And then I'm talking and I'm just like, I don't know, dude. It's just like not. It's awkward, dude. It's fucking awkward. Like it's in the past, you know? Sometimes you gotta leave things in the past. But it would be fun. Maybe tomorrow we'll do it. It'd be fun. I remember the first videos I made, dude. I was talking about random. I've realized I've had some people hit me up of like, hey, can you like help me with social media and like building a brand and like Twitter and YouTube? I've come to the conclusion, dude, I don't think anyone can coach anyone on how to do this at all. I really don't. This is a game of throwing yourself out there into a like hurricane, tornado, whatever you want to call it, and just figuring it out. And it's like, if you saw where I started versus where I'm here right now, like things, you go through so many ups and downs, just learning how to work with algorithms and content consistency. I don't think anyone can coach you. Like if someone tried to pay me money, I wouldn't be able to take their money because there would be no way to actually coach them. It's hard. So I'm saying this to say, when I started off on YouTube, I just didn't know what I was doing, but things have evolved and you figure it out. And I think everyone has to go on that journey if they actually try to do like content. I think Steve was just trying to call me. Let me see. But yeah, I think the first video I was talking about some random topic in the news about like Instagram and the weekend. Steve, what's up? You're in front of 600 people with me. How are you doing?
What's up, Media Mogul?
We want to get some of your thoughts because we have earnings coming up next week, and we had some earnings this week, so about 15 minutes if you can give us your time. I talked to your booking assistant, and they had me get to this time with you.
Okay. What earnings would you like to talk about?
Okay, so first I want to talk about SoFi. Is SoFi just a bank if they don't have the fintech side of the business?
Are we really going to have this conversation?
I'm just curious. What do you think? What do you think? When I mean just a bank, is it a bank that, deserves the multiple that it deserves, even if the growth is high, without the fintech part of the business?
So you're going to have to elaborate on how it doesn't have the fintech side of the business.
No. What I'm saying is if they didn't have Technesis and Galileo, would this stock be something you would be super excited for? Is my question.
No.
Okay, so let's see. That's what I said, and people were like, "You're being bearish," and I'm like, "I don't."
No, because then what's the difference between them and Ally Bank? I mean, sure, some different products and stuff like that, but it's pretty much the same thesis at that point.
So okay, good, because I that was kind of my so let's talk about SoFi earnings. My prediction is that Noto drops the hammer on a fintech argument, like a fintech new, like some type of product partnership, whatever. He announces something, and that's what catapults the stock. Even if they add 700,000 members, like that's not going to be what matters. Would you agree?
Look, the big difference is SoFi is a vertically integrated company that controls its own destiny because they own the entire back end of everything they need to do. Ally Bank does that in any way, shape, or form. And that's why I think SoFi is a true pure play fintech play, while you could make an argument that Ally's more of a cloud play for banking, not necessarily a fintech play. And when you own Galileo and you own Technesis and you have the bank charter and you can white label any product for any company, and you have financial institutions that are looking at having your technology platform run their underlying business, it's hard to say they're not a fintech company.
Okay, so my question is on the earnings, if they don't make progress on the fintech side of the business, if they just have like decent numbers across the board, even triple beat, do you think it has momentum to pump at that point?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it needs to have tremendous progress on the tech side this quarter if there is a roadmap to get there. It's more about the roadmap, because this is not, you're not selling books on a website. You're not, this is a highly regulated area. This is something that is going to move slow. It's about the roadmap of the potential. And once they start getting customers, how can they compound that? And what does the recurring revenue look like from that stream?
But I'm just talking about literally if they don't announce like a big bank partnership or something like that, do you think the street's going to care even if they add a ton of members?
No, I think if you add a lot of members and if you have positive EPS and you show a blueprint to be GAAP profitable throughout the whole year and come out with a roadmap to back up what Noto came out with 50 to 80 cents in 2026 of EPS, I don't think that they're going to care that much about this quarter's.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm feeling. If you don't make progress, even if you have a roadmap, that's good for longs, which I know you are. But for people that want a short-term pump like me on a Monday, I'm not going to get
you better hope that they announce a huge partnership, and you better hope that they announce a huge membership number, and hope they announce. If you just want, a quick pump on a weekly option. But for the long-term investment case, I think as long as they say that they're making progress in the RFPs, these things take a while, but they're showing more interest and things are promising, I think that's all they need. But they can't say that forever. In 3 or 4 quarters from now, you can't keep saying that. At some point, you got to produce.
Right. I agree. I think they'll do well. Do you think it's going to go well on Monday?
I mean, I hope so. I'm more interested in the commentary. Look, everybody who's in it would love for it to go up because your account looks better. But look, I'm more interested in what the commentary is, where things look like they're going, and getting more clarity on some of these things.
Okay. Google yesterday. How'd you feel about their quarter?
I mean, it's hard not to like it.
What do you think about the dividend?
Hard not to like it.
What do you think about Sundar
acting like an adult?
Yeah, and addressing this whole ChatGPT versus search debate, because he actually really addressed it better.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think it was what you need. I think it's what everybody wanted to hear and what everybody hoped to hear. And if he didn't talk like this or go into this type of explanation, I could have completely seen things going the opposite way.
Okay. Do you think the dividend indicates signs of slowing growth from the AI perspective, or it's just too much cash and
No, they have a tremendous amount of cash. Hang on one second. Hang on.
If Palantir didn't have Foundry or Gotham, it's just a consulting company. I mean, that's probably true.
Sorry, my Chinese food delivery just came.
Okay, I hope you enjoy your Chinese food after.
Well, you know, the intercom system, I had to pick up and buzz them in, so, you know. Yeah, I mean, look, Google produces a tremendous amount of cash. And think about this. What did I say to you last quarter when Meta implemented a dividend? I said that in 2024, Google's going to, or Alphabet's going to implement a dividend. They're going to follow suit because they saw the street's reaction.
No, I agree. I mean,
and they just produce too much cash not to do it. I mean, you're buying back so many shares. Implement a small dividend also, and look, eventually you'll have a full dividend growth company.
Yeah. Okay.
Microsoft doesn't pay a huge dividend, but they grow it every year.
Correct. Yeah, I actually saw yesterday they initiated a quarterly dividend, but it was from March, and I was like, oh, Microsoft has a dividend, but you know, they've always done
Yeah, it's small. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's small relative to their share price.
Okay, Meta. The drop in Meta. The question here is, are you buying the dip, and did you think the drop was justified at all?
I didn't, but I'm going to.
And Meta is like one of your top 5 with Google, or it's not that big of a position in the portfolio?
Oh, no, it's definitely top 5.
It's definitely top 5. Okay. So the reason for the decrease, from my understanding, is the CapEx came up.
The reason for the decrease is people don't understand that in order to win and create a moat, you have to spend money. If you don't believe in the vision, don't believe in Zuckerberg, sell and leave and just never come back. He's earned the right to spend. He has earned the right to test certain things. And the bottom line is, when you have companies like Amazon, Alphabet, Meta, Microsoft, and now Apple all spending on this, they're going to be so far ahead of everybody else. Nobody is going to actually be able to borrow the amount of money needed to compete in this space. So it is fine that Meta is increasing CapEx, which they are not tapping the debt markets for, and they are utilizing free cash flow. I mean, they are a hugely profitable company. EPS is still growing, and boo-hoo that they came in a little light for next quarter's expected revenue. They never announced what it was going to be until the other day. The analysts wanted to see something else, and the stock sold off, yet it's the second largest amount of quarterly revenue they're ever going to produce. Give me a break.
Okay. Tesla was 140 the bottom.
I can't predict the future, but it feels like it.
Why does it feel like it?
I mean, they finally put a vision together that makes sense, and Elon looks like he's going to act like an adult, and they're so close to a lot of things that it looks like they're doing everything right. And when you really break this down, forget about how they got here, okay? Because they've diluted shareholders to get here. They've done a lot of things to get here. But the bottom line is, they're sitting on $26 billion in cash. They have $3 billion in debt. They have a net debt balance that is positive. I mean, they can pay off all their debt tomorrow, still have over $20 billion in cash. They have more than enough to increase CapEx to spend on what they need on the GPUs. They're ahead of everybody on FSD. And if they actually get there, which it seems like they're going to do, they already have one of the very large OEMs in talks to license FSD for them. So you got to think it's either Ford or GM. And my speculation would be it's Ford rather than GM. So play it out. It's not going to happen this year, but in the next 10 years, the question really becomes, do you think U.S. regulation will be there to allow you to go to sleep in your car and have a car drive you around? If you think yes, then it's pretty hard to see a pathway where Tesla isn't the out front winner in that.
But the numbers sucked. We know the numbers sucked. So my question here is,
it wasn't about the numbers.
Why?
It wasn't about the numbers because their business can sustain itself, and this is a pathway to pay for everything else they want to do in the future. And this is now the foundation.
And you think that's
the car business is a means to the end. It was never about the actual physical car business. If you think about the way Elon is probably thinking about it, he's using the car business as a way to transform the auto industry and generate the revenue to do everything else that he wants to do. And he's going to use that as his Trojan horse into everything else. He's going to have people driving Teslas around. He's going to have the other manufacturers using his smart chargers. He's going to have the other manufacturers using his FSD. He's going to have a robo-taxi fleet whenever the hell that happens. He's going to get a cut of the ride hailing from that network. He's going to be a threat to Uber. And then Optimus is going to take everything over. Like, the bot is the most undervalued thing. And people probably don't believe that this is a real thing or people are going to buy it. I promise you, people are going to buy it.
No, people are going to buy this shit. It's going to fucking sell. I mean, that's...
Like, think about it. For the price point he was throwing around a couple of months ago was $22,000 at mass scale. Okay? When you break that down over a 60-month amortization, it's like $330 a month or something like that. If this thing can get to the point where it's hooked up to a neural network through Tesla's platform, where every job that gets done, every bot upgrades and learns from those tasks that are done, you could have one of these bots theoretically take care of your lawn, take care of your pool, clean your home, do your laundry. You could accomplish those 4 things. From a retail perspective, it's about who gets to market first.
Okay.
I don't think that there's a company that can out-manufacture Tesla from that standpoint, and I think that they're the mass market winner in that.
Okay, I have a question, and I think it's time for you to finally admit you were wrong about this.
I admitted I was wrong.
No.
Did
you
I
don't even know what question I'm going to ask. It's not about Tesla.
Oh, okay.
It's about something else that we had some fierce debates about.
Okay.
And you, I think, have to admit defeat on this one. I don't know if you will, but we're going to see. Are you ready?
Well, I don't know what the question is, so it's pretty hard for me to say yes or no.
You said the Vision Pro was actually important.
Oh, I do think
Apple reduced their deliveries from 850 projected to 450,000.
Okay.
And hold on. And some reputable Apple blogs are saying they have sources saying 2025 there won't even be a new model because there's not enough demand.
Okay.
Are you ready to say Vision Pro, like me, is a dud?
No.
Why are you laughing? You're wrong on this.
No.
You like to be wrong? You like laughing when you're wrong? What are you talking about? Why are you laughing?
Listen, I completely changed my mind. I said Tesla was overvalued by 85%. It fell by about 68 to 72% after it, and then made a round trip back up. And I have changed my mind, and I think that Tesla has the potential to be the most valuable company in the market over the next decade. Completely changed my mind and admit that I was wrong, and I came around. I am now
okay. So it's time to admit you're wrong on Vision Pro now. Can you do it?
No, because the Vision AR and VR is the future.
Dude, why are they slashing projections in half? I'm just curious.
Look, I don't know, but AR and VR is the future. But you got to look at the context of what I said. The context of what I said is it's going to take a couple of versions of iterations and engineering proficiency to get this to be something that is basically a pair of Oakleys on your face. It can't be this helmet type thing that you're wearing. Because, yeah, it's cool to play. Look, I bought the first Oculus that came out. Yeah, it was cool to play with for the first half an hour. And then after sitting there a couple of times later, you just don't want to use it anymore because it's so big and bulky. It has to get to a point where it's
What if it doesn't get to that point? That's my question.
If it doesn't get to that point, then it's a dud. But you got to get to that
So
point.
I already know what's gonna happen, so I'm saying it earlier.
It's got to be $7.99 to $9.99 price point, and it's got to get to become a pair of Oakleys.
Steve,
because there's so many applications for it.
I have this iPad that I don't use every day because my MacBook is good enough. If people don't, and I asked the chat in the morning, most people that have iPads don't use it. They have to force themselves to use it. Why do you think people will actively use a headset, even if it gets skinny?
Okay. So let's think about this from 4 angles. Okay. Angle 1, education. Instead of reading a book or looking at a computer screen, if you're taking a biology class, you can put these sunglasses on. You can get a full VR experience with a beating heart, arteries, and all these other things. From any type of education or training aspect, whether it's mechanic, electrician, any of these types of things, it has the potential to transform education. History classes for students, you can go and look at the Middle East, you can go look at Africa, you can go look at Europe. I mean, there's tremendous educational applications for this. 2, entertainment. Me personally, if you say that I can get a virtual ticket to some of my favorite sports teams and pick what section of the stadium I want to sit in and experience the event rather than watching it on TV, I'm down. I think you're going to have big entertainment demand for it. I think that you'll have entertainment packages from Live Nation. I think you're going to have sports. And then watching Netflix or watching Hulu on this or Apple TV is going to be big. And then gaming. I don't think people really comprehend what playing Call of Duty in this type of thing or World of Warcraft or any of the Gran Turismo games in this is going to be. And if you see Oculus is doing a deal with Xbox, I need to read more into it. I saw it announced the other day about making some type of integration between the two. It's going to take some time. But then the big one is when it becomes like sunglasses, it'll hook up to your cell phone. We're meeting for something for the first time. Did you watch the movie Terminator yet?
Sure.
You haven't seen it.
No, I have. I have. It's the guy who's the machine that tries to kill everybody.
Yeah, no, I'm sure you haven't seen it yet.
I literally just described the plot. What are you talking about? I fucking watched it.
Of course you did, because I told you the plot and told you to watch it. But basically,
dude, it has Arnold Schwarzenegger, right?
You just Googled that. So when you
no, I swear I didn't. I guessed really well, but okay, whatever.
So when you go and meet somebody for the first time, you have these glasses on. They'll be powered by your phone. You're going to scan the person. It'll let their face will have facial recognition. Instead of a QR code, it'll go to their LinkedIn page, it'll go to their Instagram page, et cetera, and it'll feed you all the information in an earbud. It is going to be a true personal assistant for so many things.
I disagree. I don't think anyone's using this shit. I disagree.
Okay.
It's okay.
Yeah. I mean, look, it's going to take, I will admit defeat in a couple of years if it doesn't seem like it's going to play out like that. I'll be happy to admit defeat. It's going to take some time.
I just don't think people care about it. I just don't. I don't.
We'll see. I mean, look, dude, people still go to the movies. I think going to a movie theater.
Who goes to the movies anymore, dude? No one goes to the movies.
People still go to the movies.
You don't go to the movies. When's the last time you went to the movies?
I got to the movies once in like 6 years.
Dude, I went in 2019. I mean, I watched Oppenheimer, but that doesn't count, right? But I fell asleep.
No, but people still go to the movies.
I mean, no one goes to the movies.
If you're in front of a computer, I'm walking around. Fucking pull up AMC's revenue. People still go to the movies.
I mean, people go, but like
when you go to the movies,
there's not as much as they used to go. You know, that's the difference, right? Like,
I'm just saying that technology has gotten so good that even though there are still movie theaters, predominantly your entertainment is at home with Netflix streaming services and your huge TVs. Eventually, entertainment is going to take the next leap forward, and it's going to be in AR and VR.
Okay. So that's the Apple thing. Oh, Palantir. Are you buying Palantir before earnings?
Yeah, there's a good chance.
Why are you excited for Palantir?
I mean, we're all excited for the same reasons. I just need more shares.
It's fair.
I need a round number. I don't have a round number. I need more shares.
I think Palantir is going to do well. I think SoFi is going to do well. Microsoft did great. Apple and Amazon next week.
I got something for you.
Okay.
We need to look into Intel.
Oh, I actually want to know, dude, is this a value trap or is this something that's down?
I don't know. I texted Chris earlier and I asked him if he's looked into it. He said no. I said we need to look into it. It's back down to like 31. The last time that it did this, it was at like 60 or 65. It bottomed out at like 25.
Yep.
And then it went back up to 50. And now it's coming back down.
Yep.
And here's why I think that we need to really think about it, because they are going to have the foundries in the U.S. They are going to have that capital.
Yeah, but they said it's not going to be profitable for 4 or 5 years.
Who cares? Who cares? 4 or 5 years. That's short term. That is a short-term vision. They are going to have the foundries. They're going to be making the chips for everybody. We already know that is a strategic plan to wean our way off the Taiwan Summit. And you got to think about the boom-bust cycle. At some point, there's going to be a big boom cycle with CPUs, the same way you've seen it with DRAM, the same way you've seen it with GPUs, when people upgrade all their old computers because you have AI chips.
Right. I think we got to look at Intel, dude. I think we really do.
I don't know when that's going to happen. It could be a couple of years off, but at some point, you got to think that there's going to be a huge refresh cycle. I mean, look, computers last a long time. People keep computers 6, 7, 8 years now because of how good they are. But at some point, AI chips are going to make it where you have to upgrade. And when you do that, you're going to get a huge cycle. And that can mean several really good years for Intel.
Steve, SoFi's up 1.4% after hours, just touched 799. Do you think it's because we're pumping it right now?
No.
It's because you said it's going to go to the moon. So
I never said that.
Can you say that maybe so we can?
No.
Oh boy.
I mean, look, I'm excited for Monday. I'm excited for the conference.
What's your price prediction? What's your price prediction? I have 974. That's my price.
I don't know. This is the roller coaster that's so predictable because it's going to have good earnings and then it's going to go up and come back down just like it always does. I don't know. The real question is, does it stick? And at what point do people actually stop doubting the company?
That's my thing. Noto can say something. I don't know what it is. Maybe the B2B stuff, tech side, that really gets him to make people feel they need to own the future of banking. Because, dude, when I think of SoFi, like, I don't think, oh my God, this is the future of banking. I need to own it. When I think of Palantir, I'm like, holy shit, this is the future of like, everything. And I'm not just saying that because I like Palantir. It's like, even objectively, you can think Palantir is an AI baby that's going to wake up. I don't think anyone feels SoFi is like the future of banking. Like, no one gives a fuck, dude. Like Bank of America, well, everyone has banks. But if it's this banking play that's differentiated, maybe people do start thinking like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard because they're making a big play to get members.
Yeah.
And increase awareness through the NBA and these sports leagues and everything else, which I'm on board with. But only the people who really pay attention to the company understand the tech side platform. And I think that that is what they really need to start introducing in these interviews and really get everybody on retail and on the analyst side to understand is that they have the full underlying technology. And at some point, all of these legacy banks are going to have to move to cloud infrastructure because of all the new banking regulations.
Yeah, and
SoFi is going to be one of the premier companies you can go to for the architecture.
Again, that's on the fintech side. That's what matters.
And that's what, and I've always said that's what will get them the hybrid multiple.
Yeah.
Without that, it's very hard to give them a hybrid multiple. But they do have that, and they have a fully integrated product that can do everything for their clients. So if they can start selling it, and if they can start generating and showing the incremental revenue from it, I think that the street will warm up to a hybrid multiple for it.
Yeah, I agree.
We'll see. I just don't want them to get acquired, to be honest with you.
Yeah, they're not going to get it. Well, you never know. But yeah, I think
never know.
Going all the way.
I mean, I would like that to happen.
Anything you want to say before we end it off on a Friday to 623 people? Any?
Oh, this was live?
You're funny. You're funny.
I thought this was just one of our regular conversations.
No, dude, we're talking about cocaine and hookers on the regular conversation. We're not talking about
I
stocks.
don't know anything about that.
We're not talking about stocks on the regular conversations. All right.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Intel's very interesting these days.
I think it is too. Okay, we'll look at Intel. Thank you, everybody.
And,
Appreciate it. Steve, I'll call you later as well.
Yeah, call me later, and
we'll talk
I'm
about the
interested
cocaine
to
and
see
the
what you
hookers.
guys say tonight on Palantir Weekly.
Oh, do you want to come tonight or after earnings?
No, probably after earnings.
Okay, cool. We'll talk after earnings. SoFi, $7.99. Oh, there you go. $8 after hours on SoFi.
Did it hit 8?
It hit 8. It hit 8. We got, 3 hours left? It hit 8:01.
Oh, all right. So let me ask you something before you go. If you had to pick one of these companies for the next 5 years, which do you pick?
802.
Apple, Amazon, Alphabet, Meta, Microsoft, or Tesla?
I pick one. 803.
Only one. Only one. One of those 6 companies over the next 5 years. Who do you think has the most appreciation?
Okay, so basically, which out of the big 7, right?
So everybody out of the big 7 except for NVIDIA.
I know my pick. Do you know your pick?
I know my pick.
Okay, let's ask the chat. So, which of the Magnificent 6 besides NVIDIA would you guys pick for the next 5 years? That's the timeline? 5 years?
What do we think has the most upside potential, since nobody knows what's going to happen?
Okay, SoFi is 804, guys. Someone's buying this shit before earnings. I have my pick. All right, we're going to say it at the same time. I'm going to go 3, 2, 1, then we have to say it. Are you ready?
Yep.
Make sure you say it loud because both of us are talking. All right. 3, 2, 1. Tesla. That was good. That was good. I should have said Palantir just to be funny. I should have said Palantir.
And in all seriousness, Tesla is the one that I own the least of out of those, I think.
What did you say? It's not the what you most what?
No, out of those, it's the one I have the least amount of capital in at the moment, I think.
Okay. By the way,
I'm
SoFi's at
sure.
807 after hours.
And so it's running. So people really think that this is going to do something on Monday.
That's what it feels like. Okay, why would you?
I think everybody recognizes the pattern, and this could be people just trying to get in for the quick pump that always happens, and then they're going to dump. Who knows?
That is very possible.
I mean, it's annoying because it has a track record of doing that.
I mean, yeah, but there's some money to be made, even if it does. So
I'm not into it for that.
Okay, so why Tesla? I mean, TLDR, why Tesla?
I think when you think about the TAM and what they can do over the next 5 years, because 5 years from now puts us at 2029. So you look at how much technology has advanced in the past 5 years and where we are today with compute, and how much forward everything's going to be pulled because of how advanced compute is today. I think that there's a real chance that you could get legit regulation on full self-driving before 2030. And I think if that occurs, Tesla's the big winner, and I think that it just sets them up to have the potential for the most favorable outcome out of those companies. I think all of them are going to do very well. I just think that at this point,
the bot and FSD is going to make them do well. It's simple. That's it.
I mean, I can't stress enough how big I am on the bot. When you think about manufacturing, you think about warehousing, you think about all those things, and you think about the human aspect for residential. I mean, think about this a minute. People will start pool service businesses using the bot instead of humans. People are going to start cleaning businesses with the bots instead of humans.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree. I think bot and FSD is going to work. So far right now, 8:04 after hours. It's exciting. Let's see how this plays out, guys. We'll keep going from there. Steve, thanks. I'll call you later.
All right, later.
Thank you, man. Bye. All right, guys. Palantir Weekly tonight. I'll see you there. SoFi, it's pumping after hours because I think people are ready for earnings. And so Monday will be fun. If I don't see you guys Saturday, tomorrow on any of the streams, or tonight on Palantir Weekly, I'll see you Monday, 7:15 a.m. We'll be live. And we'll be ready for SoFi. Sorry, the mic was down there. You probably weren't hearing me the best. All right. That's it. Thank you, everyone. Have a good one. I'll see you tonight. And if not, Monday morning, we've got SoFi. Bye, everyone. Have a good one. Have a great weekend. Good night.